Hey there, Hexers. This is Function here with another installment of What's the Pick? Before I get into that, though, real quick, I have two Portensios to give away from Gen Con. The first of which I'm going to be doing as a pretty straightforward giveaway that just about anybody can take part in. What I'm going to be doing for this one is if I hit 300 YouTube subscribers, by the time I get into Alpha, I'm going to go ahead and give him away to one random subscriber. So right now I only need about maybe 50 or so more to hit the 300 mark, and it shouldn't take that much work to do it. We got maybe, what, 4 weeks until Alpha lands? Maybe a little sooner than that. But yeah, help me out, and you could be the lucky winner of the Portentio Mercenary. Alright, so what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be doing the first 3 picks of a draft. I'm going to be using the draft simulator, which can be found on hexdatamine.com. Let's dive right in. Okay, so here's the site, but it's not really fair if I already have it loaded. So let's load up a brand new one, reloading the page here for you guys. Get that going. Alright, so this one's completely fresh. That other pack was OP. Alright, what are we looking at here? So, we got Trial of Faith as the rare, and here, I'll read it off real fast since it's the rare at least, but this is not what we are going to be taking, I can tell you right away. When this constant enters play, void all other cards you control and all cards in your hand. At the start of your turn, add a faith counter to this constant, then if it has 3 or more faith counters, remove all of them and sacrifice it. If you do, transform each card voided with this constant into an angel and put into play. So you're basically eliminating your own board state so that a few turns later you can turn into a board state filled with angels. Not that great. I'm sure there's some weird build around in Constructed, but for Limited, this is not what we want to be playing. So let's look at the cards real quick. We've got Trial of Faith. For our uncommons, we have Zentoth's Chosen, Cerulean Mirror Knight, Volcanon. We got Counter Magic, Nuts and Bolts, Inner Conflict, Wild Aura, Runts the Litter, Thunderbird, Sniper of Gawain, Researcher Adept, Krakenguard Mariner, Blood Thief, and Burn. Alright, so those are all of our commons. There's nothing really that jumps out at me here at the uncommon slot. Volcanon's actually not all that bad. We were playing with it at Gen Con, and it's actually pretty easy to turn it on and all of a sudden be doing like 9 damage a turn to your opponent. But it does take a lot of work around, and even if you did want it, I wouldn't be surprised to see a card like this wheel around. So, but what are we going to look at for the commons then? Well, we got Counter Magic, which is decent, but committing to Double Sapphire right on the first pick does seem a little loose to me. It's definitely a strong card, but a counter being at 3 cost is a little clunky and slow for me. Nuts and Bolts is not bad, but it's kind of the type of card you expect to wheel around and then take. But yeah, even though it costs 5, it's kind of surprising. It's actually not that bad. Inner Conflict, definitely good removal, and it's one of the better removal cards in the set. Although Diamond, maybe not the strongest color from what we've seen. Granted, there's still a lot of spoilers left to come, and I mean, that's kind of a disclaimer as well. So take this draft at least with a grain of salt. Wild Aura, no. Runts the Litter, it's not a bad card, but it's not the kind of card I want to be first picking. Battle Hoppers require a lot of kind of enablers to make them good, and I would rather take an enabler early because most of those enablers are good in other decks that don't involve Shin here. Thunderbird, also good. Maybe I think I would take Thunderbird over Counter Magic here if I was going to take a blue card so far. Sniper of Gawain, not bad. It's kind of also a build around card, but if you have the tools to make it work, it can be pretty amazing. Researcher Adept, not what we want. Krakenguard Mariner, not what we want. Blood Thief, not what we want. Burn, which is great. So I think here it comes down to Inner Conflict, Thunderbird, or Burn. I'm going to take Burn because it's really cheap, efficient removal. It fits in just about any deck. Inner Conflict, it kind of goes in the same way, but right now I do like the red aggressive decks a little bit more. So we're going to take that. Oh, I'm going to double click. Alright, so we were rewarded. That was actually a really solid pack 2 here. I can tell right off the bat. So Inferno is an amazing card. At least I think so. In Limited, it's a lot like Sulfuric Vortex in a sense for Magic if you played, which in Cube was a very, very high pick if you were already in red. It was like a great first pick. If you first picked Sulfuric Vortex, you won all kinds of Cube drafts, or at least I did. Veteran Gladiator is also amazing. So we're pretty much guaranteed to be taking Ruby card. Let's look at what else we have. Runic Monolith, not what we want. Research Librarian. Actually, I mean, the artifact deck is kind of red and blue, and this is actually one of the best artifact cards to have. Sure, he dies really easy, but you would be surprised at how powerful this guy is. It's really not that hard to be drawing multiple cards off of him. So long as he stays alive for a turn or two, you're definitely going to get your value out of him. He is definitely pretty good, so keep that in mind if you are working with artifacts. We are not at this point, though. Infusion Device, no. Atrophy, definitely not. Blood Crazed Zealot is an okay red common. It's not one you really want to be playing more than 1 or 2 copies of, and obviously Veteran Gladiator. I think it's called Ragemonger now, and he's maybe 3 attack, 1 defense, but he has the same ability. So yeah, Ragemonger is pretty good. Blood Crazed Zealot, no. Rensselaer, obviously not. Ruiner Commander, obviously not. If we were going to take a Shin here, we would take Rensselaer before we take this, I would say. Ruby Lance is not bad, but this will actually probably wheel. Honeycap, no. Heavy Welding Bot, no. Oracle Song, mediocre. And Captain Dragon Guard, no. So it's really Inferno or Veteran Gladiator. And this is really a question of how fast and what type of deck do we want to play. Do we want to play more of a burn style deck where we are just trying to beat our opponent as quickly as possible, or do we want to be putting some troops on the ground? I'm actually kind of leaning towards Inferno. I do really like it, and it's the rare. It's kind of a good idea to be taking the rares when you have a chance. Granted, this isn't a real draft, so we're not going to be able to. But Veteran Gladiator is really good. I think this is actually a tough choice. I think we have a lot of potential to close out a game early with Inferno. You might as well take it right off the bat and go all in. If we got cut on red, we're definitely taking a big risk here, because the triple ruby threshold is kind of scary if we got cut on it. But and that's kind of what Veteran Gladiator has going for it. But sometimes you go all in and it pays off, and that's what we're going to do here. Alright, so we got Archmage Dreadlock. Oh man, actually that would be kind of interesting. Alright, so whatever this card is, we don't know yet. Evolve, which is, I talked about Shinhair enablers. This is one of the enablers, so if you were playing Shinhair, you would value this card very highly. Charge, Mangled Zombie. I think that's Assault Bot, which is a 4/2 for 4. Researcher Adept, Ruby Lance, Bombsmith, Niblin Hunting Pack, Shadowgrove Witch, Radiant Armor, Bloodbear. So right here it's worth, we'd be looking at Renlock, Ruby Lance, Bombsmith. You know, Renlock's pretty good, and he might even actually be the pick here. He's one of those cards that without playing with him hands-on, it's hard to tell how strong he is. He's definitely a bomb. It's just, do we want to be opening into blue as our second color? It would either be, I probably wouldn't be taking Ruby Lance. Ruby Lance is good, it's removal. But Bombsmith actually does kill quite a few things, even though it hits only for 1 damage. That early game, a lot of the troops are only 1 toughness. Yeah, I think, I hate to be going with the rares, but I think I would be taking the Renlock. There's just too much room for us to really work off, and we already have Burn, which will work. Being able to grab some Ruby Lances late was really strong. And then, as far as blue cards that we'd be looking at maybe picking up the card that bounces a creature for 3, as well as Oracle Song for some more gas into the late game. We do have Inferno, though. And that makes me want to go with Bombsmith. We're already committed to the Inferno. Double blue's going to be hard. Yeah, we go with the Bombsmith. So, I don't know if we would have ended up regretting that. We would have had Ruby Aura on our next pick, was actually a pretty good card. So yeah, there's my first 3 picks. And let me know what you think of that third pack. Would you take the Renlock or the Bombsmith? I probably mispicked there. But only time will tell. I'm really excited to be playing with the game. Once it finally comes out, I'm going to be drafting like crazy. Draft is so much fun. In case you've never done it before, don't be intimidated, because it's incredibly fun. So yeah, guys, stay tuned. Definitely subscribe if you haven't yet. Try to get into that contest for the Mercenary. And other than that, you guys have a good one.